At 3rd level, a college of, well, I'm sorry, this is a college of eloquence. I lost my place. There we are. What? I'm sorry. It has been a frazzled night tonight, everyone. Oh, delightful in the tug at the heartstrings. Oh, okay. That is welcome in a vampire game, of course. So at 3rd level, when you get your subclass as a bard, you get universal speech with this college. You have gained the ability to speak and reason with any creature. As a bonus action, you can expend one of your uses of bardic inspiration. When you do so, roll your bardic inspiration die and choose a number of creatures within 60 feet of you that you can see equal to the roll. For 10 minutes, the chosen creatures can magically understand you, regardless of the language you speak, and you have advantage on charisma checks made to influence them. This feature works even on a creature that doesn't speak any languages. So, you know, that stray dog is barking at you in the alley of the city. Well, so this is not as powerful as Tongue of Sun and Moon that monks get, or, of course, as the Comprehend Language spell. Though it's not bad. This is very much a utility. Hi, Big Sam. Oh, the one-shot's over, Hark. Well, hey, settle in and have some fun. And you also get soothing words. You can now cast Calm Emotions without expending a spell slot. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your charisma modifier. You regain all expended uses of this feature when you finish a long rest. This is, so let's see, at 3rd level, if you go with the standard array, you would have a 17 if you're maxing out your charisma. And so this is 3 times per day at level 3. You can cast Calm Emotions. And Calm Emotions isn't necessarily a huge, it's not like a fireball spell or a lightning bolt. This is a very social class, very built for utility, it would seem. If we come over here, Calm Emotions. Burning Hands, Cone of Cold. Yep, so while you could normally get this as a bard at second level, that's a second level spell's 3rd level and up. You get 3 free casts to suppress strong emotions in a group of people. Or you can make someone indifferent. You also have Undeniable Logic. You can spin words laced with magic into a knot of reasoning that can be encouraging or impossible to follow. As a bonus action, you can expend one of your uses of Bardic Inspiration. When you do so, choose a creature you can see within 60 feet of you that can hear you, then roll your Bardic Inspiration die and choose one of the following. The creature takes psychic damage equal to the number you roll on the Bardic Inspiration die, and the creature must succeed on an intelligence saving throw against your spell save DC, or have disadvantage on the next saving throw it makes before the end of your next turn. So that's some interesting manipulation of saving throws. This is touching a little bit onto the territory of sorcerers that have heightened spell metamagic, if I recall correctly. That forces a disadvantage on save at a pretty high cost, especially at 3rd level, because it would take all 3 of your sorcery points. The creature regains hit points equal to the number you roll on the Bardic Inspiration die, and the creature has advantage on the next saving throw it makes before the end of your next turn. So a little bit of Sorcerer, a little bit of Paladin. And at level 6, I'm not saying that that's bad. That's when you get your aura as a Paladin. So damage and disadvantage, or healing and advantage. That's totally a lawyer, says Goblin. And as a bonus action, which wouldn't count as a spell, so you could take your standard action, and then you can use your undeniable logic. So, you know, a little finishing touch of psychic damage. And, you know, an intelligence saving throw, you don't see a lot of those. And that's partially what makes Intellect Devours so deadly, as we've almost found out on Tuesday. I can't be having you jumping everywhere, ma'am. This is not the night for that, please. Not on the keyboard. Oh my goodness, cat. Hi. Actually, you know what? This could allow for a combo where you take, maybe you take your movement or you don't, but you use your bonus action first with undeniable logic to set yourself up to force disadvantage on something like your next Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Or, I mean, let's be real, bards can dip into any spell, right? Any other class's spells. And so it doesn't even have to just be, you know, the Irresistible Dance or the Hideous Laughter. You know, with you splashing other spells, you could set yourself up with undeniable logic and pretty well force through damage or effects from some other spells that bards don't normally get. Goblin, yes.
The prosecution's a poopy head. I rest my case.
Hi, Rhino. Well, hey, we're in workshop mode right now, so if you have any questions or, you know, this is good background for you, we're happy to be along for the ride with what you're doing in your workshop, just as you are with us. And, of course, this is good for just some splash healing. I don't know if it would replace Healing Word, per se. But this is universally good. Universally good. And if we're coming over to bards, remember, we need to take this playtest material and always compare it against the player's handbook. Don't build Splat and compare it against other Splat. Bring it back to the base. Bring it back to the core. So if we go for College of Lore, you get additional magical secrets. So you learn 2 spells of your choice. So you have the same amount of spell slots, you just get more options for those spells. College of Valor at 6th level, you can attack twice. Now when we compare this to something that allows you to use your Bardic Inspiration to force disadvantage on effects, or to force advantage and even heal, that's a really good level 6 ability. Now, it probably has to be, as your third level. Your third level is just its utility, its communication. This doesn't necessarily make you powerful in battle. You know, there's roleplay stuff, but you can't always count on roleplay stuff. So if we bring this over to Cutting Words, you know, you get Cutting Words in College of Lore, and it also turns into Combat Inspiration if you're a Valor Bard. And so these are different ways that you can use your Bardic Inspiration die. Talk about, yeah, talking to someone to death. And so you have a roleplay spell, primarily, and you have a utility power. So I can see why Undeniable Logic would be more powerful at level 6, because it's helping to make up for the fact that you just get normal Bardic Inspiration until 6th. Then at 14, we have Infectious Inspiration. When a creature adds one of your Bardic Inspiration dice to its ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, and the roll fails, the creature can keep the Bardic Inspiration die. In addition, when a creature adds one of your Bardic Inspiration dice to its ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, and the roll succeeds, you can use your reaction to encourage a different creature other than yourself that can hear you within 60 feet of you, giving it a Bardic Inspiration die without expending any of your Bardic Inspiration uses. You can use this reaction... Hey, Valakut! Valakut, I presume that you want a gotcha capsule with that. You can use this reaction a number of times equal to your Charisma modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Okay, I'll pull a capsule here in just a second for you, Valakut. It could snowball there, Goblin. And so this is going to your bard and saying, look, you have generic Bardic Inspiration, so we're gonna give you more things to do with your Bardic Inspiration, I guess broadly, than theme your Bardic Inspiration through, cutting words and the like. It's a little convoluted in wording. I mean, I'm not saying offhand, off the top of my head, I could reduce this down. But it is very conditional, on a fail, creature within 60 feet has to hear you. But this is, the Infectious Inspiration is, you're the battlefield leader. This is very much a bard that, not that you maybe wouldn't maximize charisma with your other bards. This one for sure, all about charisma. Get as many uses of this stuff, make your things as potent as possible. You are a skill in magic bard. In particular, a charisma skill bard. Not necessarily a, the handyman or if in other terms with, on the battlefield. You're definitely not going to hold a candle in battle to a Valor bard, at least as upfront as the Valor would. But that's, hey, you do this, you swing that sword, you be better at your things. Also, thank you very much for the host, Black Wolf. What's going on with Pokemon? That's a 24-hour stream. Yeah, this is absolutely a heavy-hitting RP bard. You are correct, Big Sam. Octormukti? Is that what that is? Octormukti, Victor? Yeah, do the thing better. Be better. Combat better. Do the thing mightily. Yeah, hit them, dodge them, stop bleed. That Goblin, that's it. I mean, because you're handing out advantage and heals. You're handing out disadvantages and some psychic damage. You're spreading your Bardic Inspiration around. I mean, they even call it infectious. You can... people, your targets don't have to speak your language. And so any of your effects that rely on hearing or understanding, maybe even arguably, this could possibly get around some spells that require an intelligence, a certain intelligence threshold. It doesn't say here that it is a workaround for those spells that have to meet a particular intelligence score to take effect. Though I could see this being taken in that direction where, because any creature, you know, even if it doesn't speak any languages, so a fish, that you might be able to force that whatever compelled action or whatnot to that creature magically. Yeah, very much a cheerleader. There you go, Rhino. Rah, rah, ree. Kick him in the knee. Rah, rah, Rick. Kick him in the other knee. So we're going to be taking these and making, let's see. Well, there's 14th level for here. Oh, you know what? Yes. Paladins go to level 20 for their capstone, as their capstone is actually in their subclass. So we're going to be making some level 20 bards here, everyone. I don't know what you're talking about, Bubonic. How does battle and chat work? Oh, Sheeps, can you answer that question for Big Sam for me, please? How to stress a gem with that. Oh my goodness, Goblin. All right, now to build our bards, as we're gonna have a party of bards, it seems. We are going to our handy dandy character generator, and you know what? I have a dice roller here, and maybe I'll roll some dice. But it's a lot of fun to build a character with you all as well. So, Goblin Cave, if you could start us off and type exclamation point 1D100. Let's find out if we have a female character, a male character, or a multi-class character. A 61. So we have a male character. Handy dandy, you are correct, Baloo's Clues. Baloo's Clues, would you please type exclamation point 1D10? And Big Sam, would you please type exclamation point... actually, I have to see what Baloo's comes up with here before that point. Lands on a 5. All right, we have a half-elf. So, would you please type exclamation point 1D4? All right, odds. So, as a half-elf, now this is an interpretation that I give. This doesn't exist as a rule in the books. With an odd result, our half-elf favors his human descent. The favor could be culturally, linguistically, artistically. It could simply be that, yes, while we are mechanically a half-elf, we can pass as human, 9 times out of 10. Because genetically we're favored. Our ears aren't as long, aren't as pointy. Our eyes aren't as almond-shaped. Or have, fey colors in our hair. So we have a male half-elf. Favors human side. Half-elves are medium-sized. Next up, let's find out his alignment. Raven, would you please type exclamation point 1D100? Oh, we're not going to make a boring half-elf, Rhino. Big Sam, Sheeps would have to hand out points after the results. 1D100, and it lands on 21. So we have a, we're doing balanced odds. We're just going to give equal probability here. So we have a neutral good character. We already know that we're going to be creating a level 20 character, so we can do a comparison when we do some party math. Now, I would like... yes, Valakut. And Valakut, would you please type exclamation point 1D100? Let's find out if we're going to replace any of the ability score improvements or our stat bumps with feats. With a 52, nope, we're taking it. We're all natural. We're taking stat bumps. Very good. Now, for the background source. There are 15, no, I'm sorry, there's 13 backgrounds in the player's handbook. There's 18 here because these have the options that a couple of them bring along. For this one, I am, just because there's a 10% chance we'd have to wait on a reroll of some kind, I'm going to make it an 18-sided die, plus I want to get it on the fun too a little bit. 18-sided die, and let's roll it. I rolled an 8. So this person is a guild artisan. Rhino Hide, would you please type exclamation point 1D20 to find out what kind of guild artisan our character is going to be? Yes, Hark. I wish you well in your writing, Victor. Stops on a 13. Now, I don't know which one 13 is yet, but we're going to discover that shortly. Camera, why are you just suddenly, you know... I'm still here. Hi, camera. All right. We are going to... I'm going to roll a couple of these to get our placeholders for our personality traits. So that's going to be 2d8. So 5 and 7... And then 3d6 for our ideal bond and flaw. 4, 2, and 5. 4, 2, 5. I don't know what these mean yet. Again, we're going to find out soon enough. Now, we already know our class. We are a Bard, College of Eloquence. So we could skip over this. As much as I love, hitting this big golden button, or even if I were to ask some of you all to give me a 1d12, well, it's fixed for this exercise. Class features, bards, don't have to worry about it. So now, Hark, would you please type exclamation point 1d100? Let's find out how, in which age range our character is. And for all of you out there, don't forget that. Challenge yourself sometime. If you love a character build, then ask yourself, do I want to play, a young lad or lass? Do I want to play, a seasoned citizen? Rolls a 33, so we have a young adult. And so for a half-elf, for a half-elf, a young adult is 13 plus 1d7 years. So I'm going to generate a d7. We're going to add 13. So we have a 16-year-old Now, mind you, this is biologically, they would be considered at young adult stage of their life. Here. This doesn't mean legally in a culture. This doesn't mean, well, like I said, legally or culturally, depending on, you know, wherever this person travels. It's just that biologically we mature at the rate that we're a young adult at 16 years old. Very teeny bopper. Yeah, you know, and you could have a ton of fun playing characters that are outside your, you know, a couple years of yourself. And it's a good roleplay challenge if you play up in age or down in age, where, you know, you have, maybe you've always played clerics, you're always the party cleric, but you want to mix up the one thing because you love elves, you love clerics. Everyone in your group knows every time you play D&D, you will not play anything other than an elven cleric, because that's your thing. And I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, hopefully you mix it up. But even if it's just this one thing, and so you play an elderly elven cleric, and the next time you play a young, like a child prodigy even, elven cleric. Even by changing that one age aspect, you can take the same mechanics that you know time and time and time again, and it could flip it on its head because the way that you use them could be different, as you're playing to your wisdom or lack thereof. You're playing to your youthful exuberance or lack thereof. Oh, you're playing an evil campaign, Hark. Now, our base height is 4 feet 9 inches as a half-elf. And you know what? As a young adult, you know, would we modify this a lot? You know, at 16, we're still growing. So I'll make the call that we're just going to add 1d8 instead of 2d8 as a height modifier. Or, you know, if you want to bump it down, say, if you want to still have that minimum 2 inches to bring us up to 4 feet 11, then, you know, make it 2d6 or 2d4. You know, let's go 2d4. So we minned out. We're going to add 2 inches to his height. And so he is 4 feet 11 inches tall. He's not rolling with the shorty squad. You know, he's still taller than gnomes and halflings, and even some dwarves. But you know what? Growing boy, he still has a lot to go. Now we're going to take that same 2 and multiply it by, hey, 2d4. We're multiplying by 7, so we're adding 14 pounds to the base weight. Again, if we wanted to modify this and say, you know, 1d4 instead. But you know what? Maybe he's a little short, but maybe he's a little stocky. So that was my computer, not yours, unless it happened at the exact same time. Wouldn't that be interesting? Because, of course, you know, the computer's like, yeah, we're going to force notifications and sounds on you. You know, we'd like to restart. Can I delay it? No, this is not an option. You don't own me. So, 124 pounds. 124. Whoop, that's 125. Excellent. Now, for all of you who've been along on a random character generation workshop with us, you know that we love starting with the background of the character, as the background is where we actually find your character. The fact that he's a half-elf, yawn, bard, whatever. Now, the subclass is interesting because it's new. This is going to tell us who our character is. How does he make decisions? How does he think? So that we can get, as his players, as his pilots, in a roleplay mood, and also build a world around this character in which we're going to be immersed. Oh no, Kitty Bird set Goblin Cave's computer on fire. Too old to Twitch, computer's the real DM. You rolled a 1, blue screen of death. Well, welcome. It's good to see you back, Too Old. Now, we rolled a guild artisan. So, alphabetically, starting with Acolyte, and here we go. What a dashing figure, right? As a guild artisan, we are going to have skill proficiencies. I'm going to scoot this over just a little bit so we can read. We're going to have skill proficiencies in insight and persuasion. There we go. Insight and persuasion. We are going to have a proficiency with a type of artisan's tools, and you know what those are going to be? We rolled a 13 on a d20 here, and so we have a painter, limner, and sign maker. Goblin Cave, would you please type exclamation point 1d3? One wish. All right, so we have a painter. Our guild artisan here is a painter. Or, as Coffee Cat said, a graphic artist. This is you know, ye olde graphical artiste. So we are going to have languages, tools, painter's tools. We are also going to get a language of our choice. Well, as a half-elf, we get Common, Elven, and one other. And then our background is going to give us yet another one other language. He might paint minis. Welcome back, Backert. You know, and so does that mean that that he does body paintings for halflings? Or is it just that he makes little wooden statues to give to kids? Does he, you know, is he a classical painter? Or honestly, does he just paint houses? You know, that you're being a painter that way too. Oh, tattoo artist might be able to fall underneath that. You did hear paint daily. Absolutely. Well, you know, Victor, with this subclass, you don't have to worry about that. But knowing a lot of languages can be very useful. Great for role-playing as well. So our starting equipment, we're going to get painter's tools. We're going to get a letter of introduction from our guild. We are going to get a set of traveler's clothes. And a belt pouch containing 15 gold. However, we're making a level 20 character, so, I mean, what's 15 gold? Our background feature is a guild membership, which is very handy, especially for role players. So this is an excellent combo for the College of Eloquence, because you are social as a guild member. You have influence in economics, in politics. You want to convince people to buy your painting, or that other paintings are not as good as yours? Do you want to, you know, to teach painting? You want to be, have we made a Bob Ross? Bob Ross is a guild artisan, right? He makes paintings, he sells paintings. He also sells artist supplies and whatnot. He is a very eloquent bard. So we have a half-elf, kind of a Bob Ross style character here, it seems. Yep, paints happy little orcs. Or in this case, I guess happy little minis that was put up above. Yeah, he could use animate object and bring them to life. That would be very interesting, Hark. To paint you the little wooden figures or the little minis, and then that's a spell that he would probably have, and make the miniatures come alive and caper and scamper, and even put on a good show. All right, now let's learn a little bit about our character. His personality trait, his first one is number 5. I'm rude to people who lack my commitment to hard work and fair play. I don't know. I believe Infernal Pact Warlocks get him, Victor. Next up, his second personality trait is number 7. I don't part with money easily and will haggle tirelessly to get the best deal possible. Ooh, we have a consummate haggler with this College of Eloquence. He doesn't have to be nasty, or if he's nasty, it's because he's trying to put on a show and people keep talking. And so he'll turn around and he'll make a snide remark. All right, Victor, be safe, especially if it's snowing out your way. Next up, his ideal is number 4. Greed. I'm only in it for the money, or the happy buck, as Bob Ross puts it. All right, so we do have someone here who he knows he's famous. He paints, he sells his supplies, he sells his paintings, and at this point in his career, you know, he's young. This has probably gone to his head. He's in it for the money. Maybe he started out, you know, a different way. He hit it big. He found his voice. He found a way to convey to people, buy my stuff. And he's in it for the money. And so we have a young entrepreneur in the arts who is he's selling out, man. He's selling out. Next up, we have his bond, which is number 2. I created a great work for someone and then found them unworthy to receive it. I'm still looking for someone worthy. Bonds are supposed to do this. This is an excellent way to cement yourself into the world, because we now have an NPC that for sure exists and has a set of circumstances that this character found them unworthy to receive his masterpiece. And now there's an NPC somewhere out there, or another PC, or the villain, who is to be found worthy of receiving his magnum opus. Greedy, yeah, but picky. So he's protecting himself as his own brand, it sounds like, Hark. Too Old said, oh, you're comparing him to Kanye West? And his flaw was number 5. I would kill to acquire a noble title. Who's the guy gotta kill to get a noble title around here? Just kidding. Unless... Prithee, pay attention, noddeth. Thou, if... Yeah, lest thou wisheth to gaze upon... Nay, 'tis silly. Unlesseth. If this character goes destitute, horrible thing if they sold their masterpiece. Well, and so the masterpiece, we could end up rolling that to be some kind of a trinket. It's something that was done so well. It has almost a quasi-magical property to it. Well, yeah, the one worthy of his great opus is the person he has to kill to get. And again, is this a literal metaphorical? Is this something that he would often he often says this, and we have someone who's neutral good. Doesn't mean they can't be a butt about things. Obviously, that this character sees himself at this point very valuable, high self-worth in a monetary sense and in confidence as well, because you know what. He's going to walk into a room full of nobles with his big swinging paintbrush, and he's just going to waggle it in front of them and mystify them and say, y'all got money, pay up. And he can speak any language. He can calm emotions. He is just laying out the charm. Ah, an art commission so expertly created, it captured a part of the subject's soul. Well, let's find out a bit about the masterpiece then, Baloo. So let's go down here, and his item, his painted masterpiece, that he has found others unworthy to receive. Baloo, would you please type exclamation point 1D100? Stops on 73. And so his masterpiece painting is that of a shell of an egg painted with scenes of human misery and disturbing detail. Whew, we have a painter who specifically on a D100 chart has the shell of an egg painted with scenes of human misery and disturbing detail. Did I see anyone out there say iwi? Isn't it creepy how this stuff works? Hey, Disfemist. Why couldn't he be neutral good? That is I know that you're saying that. I'm going to challenge you, Disfemist. And it's not that I can't explain how he could be as well, but I would love to hear. Everything keeps stacking up against it. How many people have painted... Oh, Goblin Cave, you got to head off? Oh, thanks for joining us, Goblin Cave, and please pass our community love and support to your own little goblin for us, please. Iwi is it writes itself. You are correct, Baloo. So, Disfemist, with that challenge put up there, greed will kill his masterpiece that he finds the patron unworthy is questionable. Oh, yes, as well, too, Goblin. All right, so how can we stack this? That's a very viable thing that you had put out there, Disfemist. How can we have a neutral good character with these personality traits? Remember, good is or can be defined as you tend to be more selfless or altruistic than you are selfish or self-centered. Now, that could be a narrow margin, 51 to 49, or it's a lifestyle where you are doing things for the benefit of other people. Not that you can't receive a reward for it, but you're not doing a bunch of stuff just for yourself. And I'll tell you, here's a good example, Disfemist. I love broadcasting to you all. I absolutely do. And I'm honest in my exuberance in that I love spending time with you all. However, this is also a business. And so, oh, hey, Dorak, welcome. And so I try not to be terribly rude. I practice tact. And the definition of tact is being able to tell someone to go to hell and they ask you for directions. But if someone comes into the chat here and starts stinking the place up, making a bunch of crude comments, violating the PG-13, being just a terrible person, I will absolutely, I will address it, and I will be very stern. I don't have to be polite to this person. You know, and if I'm rude, I'll just, you know, I could just ban someone because they're coming in and they're in my channel that I've opened to you all and I want to share with you. And if someone is coming in to be antisocial, then you're right. I would still say I'm a good person because I want to share my time. I want to share my expertise. I want to share my goods and services with you all. Now, what about I don't part with money easily and will haggle tirelessly? I mean, I don't get many opportunities to haggle, but I certainly watch what I spend. You know, when it comes to the investment in the channel, when it comes to going out to TwitchCon, when it comes to, you know, some of the things that I spend my own personal money on. I'm still a good person, but I pinch my coins because I want to do so much more. I can't give to charity if I'm going out and I'm having $30 meals at restaurants twice a day. I can't invest in my channel if I'm buying, you know, if I'm buying expensive, or if I'm leasing expensive cars every year or two. And so I have this constant drain on my account through leasing. Now, what about greed? I'm in it for the money. Hi, Legends. TwitchCon was a lot of fun. We went over it last night. I showed a bunch of pictures and talked about things that I would change for myself and things that I hope Twitch changes. And it is going to spur some growth in this channel and hopefully open up the doors for some networking. Not daily, come on. Now, am I only in this for money? Not only for money. However, look, I make money on this channel. I reinvest it, and I think it's pretty obvious that I do. And so, to spend money, I have to make money. I can't say I'm only in it for the money, but then again, I'm not a 16-year-old half-elf, you know, masterpiece painter. But I realize, you know, I can't function without a stream of money coming in. And so it's up to me to try and provide that stream of money for the channel to grow, to expand, to pay bills, so that I can travel and see you all, so that I can continually buy stock and, you know, to boxes of, more boxes of minis and stuff to open up for you all. So this is fun. We're hanging out together. We're at a virtual game store. The game store, however, is a business. What about I created a great work for someone and found them unworthy? Now, who would be unworthy to receive my masterpiece where I painstakingly painted scenes of misery on a delicate eggshell? How about someone who's not empathetic to misery? If I painted this egg, Disfemist, if I painted this egg to show, you know, mothers weeping over, you know, the bodies of their children, or, you know, someone kicking a dog, or, you know, just these things that are supposed to just twist someone up inside, and the person who was supposed to receive that, received the egg, like looked at the egg and said, "Beautiful, what a beautiful masterpiece, the detail, I can see the tears in the mother's eyes." And I'm a good person, I absolutely would not want someone who extols the joy of detail of this egg, or the angst egg, as Disfemist was talking about. I would take this back from this person and say, you're not worthy to have this. You don't understand the misery. You don't understand the suffering and the angst. You don't understand that, yeah, the dog looks like it really was kicked. That's terrible. Why are you telling me I did a good job? You do not deserve this piece. Because I'm a good person who looks out after others. Just like I would defend my painting class when I'm trying to sell a painting and sell and whatever to other nobles. Someone comes in and poops the bed in the middle of my class, and of course I'm going to be strict with them because I'm very defensive over the people that I want to do business with. And then, of course, how do we come down to a neutral good character who would kill to acquire a noble title? Is it literal? Do we harbor something? Is it that seed of angst that was expressed onto the eggshell? Maybe we had those thoughts when we were, and we still do. Maybe we developed them when we were painting our anger and sorrow onto the eggshell. Or it's our flaw. It's a part of us that we don't like, but it travels with us. How many of you out there, you know, if you're like, oh boy, that was kind of a dirty thought. I mean, either because it was a dirty thought or like it was a dark thought. You carry it with you. We all have these things. Where we have temptations, where we consider, you know, oh, that person talking in the movie theater, and I just wish he'd get hit by a car so he'd finally shut up. Do you actually wish for that person to be murdered, or would you just say, I wish that person would be hit by a car? Not meaning it, but you say it. Oh, the neighbor's dog just won't shut up. Man, it'd be a shame if someone snuck a poison into its water bowl. I'd sleep in that day. Do you have an annoying neighbor's dog? Yes. Do you not like it? Of course you don't like it. When it's barking at whatever in the morning and the neighbors don't do anything about it. Is that your flaw? Because you jump to these, you know, I wish that Lord so-and-so that I offered my egg to would just keel over. Because I can actually respect the title, and I can respect the people. I hobnob with the snobs better than he does. And it seems like the only way Lord so-and-so is gonna give up his position, his lands, his barony or whatever, is if he just drops dead right now. Oof. Doesn't mean you're a bad person, but it certainly means that you have a focus on, you have a tendency to the extreme, the hyperbolic, or honestly, your mind just goes into grim places. You might have a dark imagination. We have someone who's very creative. I mean, when in the history of ever in real life, let alone in fantasy, have we ever had an artist who's had dark thoughts or inspiration found in, you know, places that other people might not look? Doesn't mean that they're bad people. Look at, here's a display. Prisoners who were executed who gave their bodies to science to be frozen and thinly sliced so that you can scroll through their bodies for like an anatomy lesson. Because there's a website or there's some medical sites where you can go through slices of a person is like, what, half an inch thick or something. And you can go from head to toe. Is the person who made that, is the artist, well, artist, medical, 6 to 1, half dozen to the other, is that person grotesque or evil? What about the person who took a donated body and plasticized the arteries in red and the veins in blue, and then boiled away the flesh and bone so that all you had left was a plastic circulatory system? Is it morbid? Is it deadly? Is it mortal? It makes us contemplate our existence, and that might be uncomfortable. Yes. Is the artist who did that evil, or at least not good? Well, I guess it depends on where he got the bodies. Let's be real. But presuming they were donated and everything was on the up and up, is the person who plasticizes corpses a bad person for doing this? Yeah, I have to be careful because the modern pronunciation isn't Van Gogh, and I think it irritates people in certain circles if you do not pronounce it correctly. The Inner Beast. There you go, Coffee. Van Gogh. Yes. Van Gogh. Not Van Gogh. Van Gogh. And of course, like that's when you have that zoom in, like that almost, you know, Van Gogh. You have that Ren and Stimpy, like kind of ultra close up, grotesque. You know, you see like a pimple in a hair, and and you just see like, you know, a little saliva just flecking off with Van Gogh. You learned that watching Doctor Who. Get it right, you plebeian. I don't know if there's a name for that technique that is that's what I call it. It's like the Ren and Stimpy zoom in. I don't know if there's a name for it, but of course you see it in SpongeBob also, and a couple other people by the artist or animator who inspired that. You know, where you have like animation and it like goes into like a super zoomed in, almost like a watercolor effect that's like ultra gritty, even like really gross because it shows all the imperfections and everything. Hey, 12 for 10. So anyway, this is our character, and so Dysfemist, was I able to, was I able to help rationalize how we could have someone who is good? He's not perfect. This is not an angel. I mean, even Bob Ross, I mean, he had to be a hard ass, and he was a carpenter before. You don't think he lost his finger in carpentry? You don't think there were some sweet words uttered that day? He was in the military. He was in the Air Force. You don't think that on a military base he didn't say, or maybe, you know, do some youthful military things? In fact, one of the reasons why he speaks so softly, if you I don't know if it's apocryphal or not, was because he didn't want to have to yell at people anymore. He didn't want to have to cuss and command. And so, you know what? We know him as a nice guy now, but he went through everything. And I'm sure he's uttered a few choice words. And also, I did see the compliment above, Raven. You bust your rump at work to provide for family and to give to people I find worthy of my coin. And Raven, I will always work to earn that coin. I will never take it for granted. Any transaction you make is simply the manifestation of the goodwill earned to that point, and I don't expect it to carry forward. That I will be scrutinized, and that I will earn your business. For any of you out there, whether it's a capsule, you know, a $3 mini from the orphanage, or you buy a brick of boxes or whatever. All right, so we have our character. Do we need anything else? We actually have a character. Everything else just seems kind of, you know, whatever now. We have a compelling character. We have an awesome character that we can imagine how he makes decisions. We've thought about his life. Yes, he's only 16, but he's been through stuff. He has this talent, which, you know what, as a bard, it, you know, maybe it feeds into each other. It's either natural or he was born with this gift, and when he expresses it, it's expressed in this magical fashion. Dorian Gray Jr. Well, we're almost to the naming part, Baloo. All right, so we increase our charisma by 2, and we can put 1 into 2 other stats. Being a bard, well, we get options. It might end up being dex. It could be intelligence or wisdom as well. So you know what? I mean, we'll float here. We'll float it in dex and wiz, but who knows? Let's find out if we want to move those around. We have our size, our speed. We can move 30 feet, so it gives us a 15 climb, 15 swim, 0 fly. We get 60 feet of dark vision. And by the way, imagine this, everyone. Riddle me this. This is a good thing, by the way. If you ever want to, actually, this is something Bob Ross did. He had a couple of paintings throughout his broadcasts where he had people write in saying, you know, I love your work, but I'm colorblind. And so what Bob would do is he would use grayscale, and he would paint an entire scene in black and white and gray. He might have added like a little red or blue just because he knew that the value or the tone, I'm mixing up my art words, that it would distinguish it somewhat against the grays and such. But imagine this, dark vision, as it's represented in 5th edition, is black and white, right? It's grayscale. The contrast. Okay, thank you, Big Sam. And so we have someone, maybe, what if he's a dark vision painter? And so his challenge, he has all the colors, and he turns out the lights. And simply by judging the values, the shades, the contrasts, he mixes. In fact, what if he even challenges himself to use the 3 primary colors? And all his colors are custom mixed in the dark. And all his paintings come out, and the paintings are well composed. They look like they're supposed to look like. But the colors, if you see them in the light, might seem disjointed, jarring, shocking, or supernatural in a way. And maybe that's his claim to fame. I remember also from Bob Ross's channel, he had a very famous painter. What was his name? He did a lot of paintings in museums. He taught, was a young, actually, that person was a very young, like he went to college when he was 16, and he ended up becoming like a masterclass painter in college. And but anyway, he said if you take a look at the works of the masters, whether they're in color or black and white, you still get the impression that it is a masterclass painting. The painting still comes through despite the colors. The emotion comes through. And so in this case, we might have this young guild artisan shocking the world because he makes beautiful paintings of color in the dark. Coffee Cat says likely to give it a warm or cool feel to the blacks and grays. And you know what? Backert, V. Backert, you are absolutely correct. There's nothing saying that we can't actually have a colorblind person. You're not going to find stuff like that in character creation traditionally, to have a color blindness, to have a stutter, to be missing one or part of your fingers, little things like that. And so maybe in the light, or even like this, what if it's light color blindness? And so when he's in the dark, and you know what? We have a half elf. How about this, everyone? How about this? We never said which half his elven heritage is from. What if his half is Drow? And so it's implied he has sensitive eyes. And when he's in the light, he's colorblind. When he's in the dark, not as much. It doesn't necessarily mean that he can't see color, but maybe the colors appear differently in the dark to him because he has these super sensitive eyes. Or his ability to paint in grayscale is unmatched by anyone else, because that's how it works. Now, we did roll that he favors his human side. That doesn't mean he can't have drow eyes or a darker palette. But maybe he appears more human. Or he could very much appear 75% drow, but he favors the human interaction because he doesn't like his heritage, his elven heritage, his drow heritage. He doesn't like the slavery in the dark. He doesn't like, especially being a male, being automatically born as a second-class citizen, subject to sacrifice at the whim of a family member, let alone anyone else. And so he eschews his drow heritage, uses those gifts with his mixed blood, but favors his human culture, human whatever. Oh, Raven. It could, yeah, maybe he's mixing a thermal paint. You know, dark vision used to be called infravision. I-N-F-R-A, infravision, and it was actually red and black. If your DM would allow it, have infravision. Have thermal vision. Be like the Predator in a way. So maybe you see color in a sense, but you lose detail, as opposed to seeing detail, but you lose color. You swap it around and have fun with it. So he has light color blindness, but I guess, like, colorized dark vision. Thermal / infra detection. By the way, everyone, I know we're talking about bards. We haven't even touched the bard part yet. And do you think that if we were to stop right now, do you have a character? Could you take this character and play this character at a game? Now, we also have Fey Ancestry. You have advantage on saving throws against being charmed, and magic can't put you to sleep. We do the charming. Skill versatility. We gain proficiency in 2 skills of our choice. And our bard's going to give us a little bit more, so I'm just going to float. Let's go, I guess, perception, because we've been talking about how perceptive he is. And if we've been talking that, you know what, performance. Absolutely performance, because he's a performer. He is a public speaker. He's an educator. Yeah, it could be more like auras. Exactly, Big Sam. With that description of mixing in the dark, and level 20 is not nearly enough for this guy. All right, and now it is time. We're going to apply 20 levels of Bard. Now, this is just straight up Bard. This is this stuff. The custom stuff from the subclass we're going to get to. So we have a skill proficiency of 6. We know 4 cantrips. 1, 2, 3 und 4. Spells known, we have 22. Though this is going to be a little bit different. We're going to get to spells in a little bit. Spell slots. We are a full caster. 4, 3, 3, 3, 3. 2, 2, 1, 1. You gotta drop that big level 9 once a day there. Alright, now what are the goodies that we're going to be getting? We are a D8 hit die class, and we get 20 of them because we're level 20. Funny how that works. Armor proficiencies, light armor. We get simple weapons, hand crossbows, long swords, rapiers, and short swords. So under weapons, I'm just going to put bard weapons because it's a special curated list. We also get tool proficiencies, 3 musical instruments of your choice. They could be musical. Given the way that we're describing this bard as being more of a painter, you could talk to your DM and perhaps come up with something else. However, if we're going with this, it doesn't mean he can't hum or sing, or maybe he does play instruments. What if he plays an instrument into the paint to like blow, you know, that a note, you know, would ripple across the paint in a technique, you know, that the music is actually represented in the paint with 3D textures by the time it dries. For all we know, he invented the brown note, and he did it in the dark. Saving throws are going to be dexterity and charisma. And we're going to get to choose any 3 skills. Well, let's take a look. I'm rude to people who lack my commitment to hard work and fair play. I don't part with, so that's probably intimidation. I don't part with money easily and will haggle tirelessly. That's persuasion, but we already have persuasion. I will haggle tirelessly. That could be an intelligence skill, though, because if you're haggling, it's because you can think of alternatives or you can reference things. Greed, I'm in it for the money. So investigation would probably be a good one. I created a great work for someone, then found them unworthy to receive it. Well, we already have insight because we could judge a person's character well. I would kill to acquire a noble title. That would indicate history if we're familiar with nobles and inheritance and how things work. So I think history, investigation, and intimidation would be his 3 bard skills. Starting equipment, I'm not even going to worry about it. He's level 20. Odds are he still doesn't have his beginning rapier, or if he does, he doesn't use it as often, or it's been enchanted, or who knows what's happened. A lot happens on the way to level 20. Yeah, that could very well be Big Sam. Absolutely. All right, so we are getting Bardic Inspiration. We are also a Jack of all trades, which means that in the skills in which we're not proficient, we get half our proficiency bonus to them. We have Song of Rest, and as we're at level 20, this is a D12. Our Bard College, not even going to worry about it just yet. Expertise. So we are going to have expertise in 4 skills. I would say, given who he is and everything we've created about this character so far, I would give him expertise in perception, persuasion, insight, and maybe investigation. Or, you know what? No, performance. Performance. We're going to take our ASIs when we get to scores, but we're not even worried about that yet. Again, we have a character. It doesn't matter what numbers are in the different areas. We have a character and we understand how he works. We do have Font of Inspiration. We get stuff on a shorter long rest, and we get Counter Charm. We are going to get Magical Secrets. And so we're going to have 10, 14, and 18. So we're going to have 6 spells that we can get from other classes if we'd like. And then at level 20, we have Superior Inspiration. When you roll initiative and have no uses of Bardic Inspiration left, you regain 1 use. And that could be important for someone like this who can actually spread their Bardic Inspiration around. And so even if they're tapped out, you know, they're leading in battle and they're healing and they're doing all this, he still can get that 1. All right, now for the archetype. College of Eloquence. We are going to get Universal Speech. We gain the ability to speak and reason with any creature. As a bonus action, you can expend 1 of your uses of Bardic Inspiration. When you do so, roll your inspiration die. It's up there. I don't want to be too redundant with this character because we started with the explanation. Then we get Soothing Words. And so we can cast Calm Emotions without expending a spell slot. And so really, we could just come down here to level 2 spells, and we get Soothing Words. We get Calm Emotions. We'll just put Charisma per long rest. Everybody simmer down now. Simmer down now. Undeniable Logic. This is, again, you spend your generic Bardic Inspiration, and you can help, you can hurt. This is very powerful. You'll get a ton of utility, and if this doesn't have you blowing through your Bardic Inspiration, I don't know what will. Because, ooh, especially if you can gain stuff on a short rest, absolutely be using your undeniable logic. And then we get infectious inspiration. And that is if someone, if we give inspiration, someone still fails, it gets to be kept and it gets to be passed also. So we're getting a lot more mileage out of our Bardic Inspiration. So there we go. It's a pretty simple build in terms of here, right? We don't have a ton of extra stuff. It's just giving us a couple ways to use the Bard chassis. And speaking of that, we have... Welcome back, Victor. We have completed... our character's chassis. Now it's time to drop the engine into him. And to do that, we're going to take the standard array and we're going to put those scores here, all throughout. Now, as someone who's a master painter and a bard and all this, I think I can safely say we should put the 15 in charisma to start out. I believe he is also very observant, so we can go 14. Then we can also put a 13 in dex. .12 intelligence. I don't know. If he lectures and he might need to maintain an audience and control, that would be a big constitution. What if we put 13 con, 12 dex, 10 int, and 8 strength? And if we do that, we could even take our racial +1 and drop that into con instead, so that he's a hardier boy. So if we do this, he has a 17 charisma, a 15 wisdom, a 14 con, and then we get to add 10 points because he's getting 5 ASIs. 4, 8, 12, 16, 19. And you get 2 points apiece. We're definitely going to be dropping 3 of them into charisma and maxing that out. This would be 4. 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10. And I think this is how he'd look at level 20. Now, if you have a suggestion otherwise, let me know. But we're looking at 8 strength, 18 dex, 14 con, 10 int. You know what? Maybe his wisdom... Let's drop that back to a 16 and bump up his intelligence a little bit. Especially for a bard, that can really put in some work. And also, he's not a dummy. He's young, so I think this can reflect that he didn't have a lot of schooling just yet. Actually, I could probably make the argument. Ooh. I could make that argument. What if his intelligence was 8? And his strength was 12, so he has youthful strength. Maybe he's used to mixing his own paints and everything. But because he's younger, he's a young adult, he's 16 years old. What if that's the case? Well, we generated him as a 16-year-old level 20 character, Raz. And so, that adds to the mystery of what has happened to take someone over the course of X amount of time and bring them to this point. because it'll all fold into the character. The character exists for a reason, and we need to come up with those reasons. So that's part of the roleplay prompt and challenge. I kind of like this as a fun challenge, and also to show that, you know what, he's not necessarily a know-it-all, but this is a flaw of his. He is still a kid. He's a young adult, but you get what I'm saying. Let's do this. Let's give him this and a 4 dex, 2 con, -1 int, 3 wisdom, and 5 charisma. And if we do this, our strength is 1, our athletics is we're not, jack of all trades. It would normally be a 1, but we're not proficient, so we get to add half. So we actually have a 4 in athletics. Now, dexterity saving throws are different, so it's going to be a 10. I know we're proficient there. That's why we have a 1 saving throw instead of a 4. Acrobatics, so 4 plus half is 7. Constitution's a 2. Now, this is where a jack of all trades can make up for a low intelligence. In history, we have a +5, and investigation we have a 5. And by the way, never be afraid to put proficiencies in a dump stat. It's not a waste. Your character is not bad. It means that they've studied those things more than a general education. Now, in this case, he's picked up stuff along the way because we still have +2s to our skills in which we are not proficient. Saving throw and int is a -1. Wisdom saving throw is 3. However, animal handling is 6, medicine 6, survival 6. Insight is going to be 12 because it's 3 plus... that's twice... that's 15. And 15 perception. Our charisma saving throw is 11. Our deception is going to be a mere +8. Intimidation is going to be 11. And then performance is going to be 17. And persuasion is a 17. That's going to give us a passive perception of 25. It's 10 plus your perception modifier. That's your natural awareness. Armor class, what armor are we going to pick up by the time that we do that? If it's leather, if it's normal leather, it's 11 plus dex, so it'd be 15. I'm going to leave this blank, because I don't know what leather this person, or what armor this person's wearing. Initiative is normally just a dex check, and in fact, it still is. However, jack of all trades applies because it's a dex check. And so this is actually going to be a +7 instead of a +4. He sees all, though it may not always be in color. Fabian Rimmen. Did I pronounce that correctly? Welcome and thank you for the follow. All right, hit points. At level 1, congratulations, you get your full hit die of hit points. In this case, it's 8. For our remaining 19 levels of our 20, we get half +1 of our hit dice. So this is going to be 95. Then for all of our levels, all 20 of them, we get bonus hit points equal to our Constitution modifier. So we get 40 bonus plus 95. That is going to be 135 plus 8 is 143 hit points. A fairly beefy bard. Now, with weapon attacks, if it's finesse or dex, I am not going to presume what weapons we have. Oh, hey, thank you for the... No one, so it's, if it's not Fabian, it's, Phoebin? Like, Phoebin Raimon? Or can you help, correct it? Because I will do my best to remember how to pronounce it and go from there. And if I ever mess it up, you correct me. So, if it's off of Dex, it's going to be a +10 to hit. And if it's off of Strength, it's still a respectable +7. All right, now if we're attacking with our spells, we get a plus 11 to hit, and to resist their effects, you need a 19, and especially if we're laying into people with undeniable logic, oof, which we should, we get 5 of them. Because we get 5 Bardic Inspirations, that is our Charisma modifier. Then we are absolutely destroying people with save effects. Oh my goodness. And so we can also get Calm Emotions 5 per long rest for free. Which we could also then give disadvantage. Fabin Remon. Okay. So I got the Fabin part. Faben, or unless you want it to be the more pronounced Faben Remon. Alright. Fabin, I will do my best to remember that. And again, if I mess up, please correct me. So we can talk to any creature, even fish or, I guess even plant creatures. We could talk to dogs. We could talk to people. We can speak their language. We're so persuasive, and we are more of a supporter as this kind of a bard. This is a very compelling character, and the fact that all of this happened through random rolls is amazing and continues to make me believe in the methodology that we use here. Now, he has earned a name. So if anyone has a name for our half-drow, young 16-year-old masterclass painter, then I am open for suggestions. Now we're going to come back here. Spellcasting is off of a Charisma. We have a 19 to save. It was a plus 11 to hit. This is our Bardic Inspiration, and we have 5 of those to use. And our spellcasting class is as a bard. Cantrips, we know 4. Now I'm putting down placeholders. I don't know, we can always go back and discuss the spells that would be taken, especially with the Arcane Secrets, or the one where you could borrow from other classes, as that would be very compelling. But I'm not worried about the spells just yet. If we come over here to the player's guide, so spells known at level 1, we start with 4. And you see at level 2, we know 5 spells. And so down here, hey, there's our 5th spell. And these are only level 1 spells. However, starting at level 3, we can take level 2 magic. I know it's weird. If you're new to this, it's weirdly worded. Just roll with it. You'll get it. Now, I'm going to put the outlay of what we can get at the levels that we can get them. However, when you level up... so let's say let's do this real quick. Let's say we go to level 3. We can access level 2 magic, and we get another spell. Well, as we do this, if we want to take... Maybe we never use this spell here. We could move it into a second level spell instead. Right? You have limited changes on level ups with your character. I don't want to sound too confusing if none of you have done that before. It's not complex. It's just simply options you can trickle into your character over time. Alright, so level 3, level 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10... And you see here at level 10, or no, I'm sorry, it's, at level 10, we get 2, right? We go from 12 to 14, and that's because those are representing our magical secrets. And they're included in the spells known column. So really, we're floating... This is level 9. Let's label this real quick. 7. I don't know if I have an eloquent wording for this, and if any of you are new watching this live or on YouTube later, I don't want you to be too confused. But down here, I'm going to float level 10. We get 2 of these. Level 14, and I think it's 18. Yeah, 2 additional from 14 and 18. And of course, you could take a level 1 spell if you want. You could even take a cantrip if you want more cantrips. And so instead of even level, I'll just put magical secrets. And then we can just drop these wherever we want. So if you think there's a spell that this bard would have for sure, then, you know, that's a cleric spell, a druid spell, a wizard spell, then we'll drop it in. All right, so that's level 9. And then we go back on course. Whoops. So we have level 10. And then we go from 14 to 15. So at 11... this is where we start getting level 11, level 13, and level 15, and then level 17. So that way we have the option of getting 1 spell at least in those slots. Because as you've seen, you get access to new levels of magic on your odd levels. Good morning, Psyart. Yes, we will be covering that in the coming week, perhaps, Victor. Baloo, you want to name him Drianne? All right. Drianne Gris. So we have Drianne Rossi, Drianne Gris. In honor of our new follower, we could even throw in a Fabian. We could even throw in a plebeian. It's like Greece, yes. Not a Cyprian? But this is a big, noble, convoluted name. Dorian, Fabian, Plebeian, Cyprian, Rossi, Gris, or Greece. Gris-Rossi. 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 We can even do that. So let's do, Drianne, Fabipleb, Gris-Rossi. Accent on the dough. Valakut the Fifth. Long line of half-elves. Oh, he could have inherited the human side. All right. So aside from picking out the spells, which we could do at a later time, we have the character pretty well ready to go. And at the end of it, if he's appalled at the person, he goes, my first name plus you swine. Drianne, you swine. Excellent. All right, everyone. We have earned a rest. We've earned a time to get up, get a drink, get something to eat, stretch, as O'Sheeps is bound to say. And we're going to make our second bard after Drianne here. In fact, we can even go Drianne. Drianne. Maybe to be avant-garde. Avant is also before. What if the V for fifth is worked in? So we have Vidrion. Vidrion. So the fifth Drianne, Fabipleb, Gris-Rossi. Everyone go stretch or whatever. I'm grumpy. I know. I saw you spilled ink, O'Sheeps. Oh. All right. 10 minutes or so. I'm gonna get up and I don't know. Might get some more salsa or something. Just something to continue to munch on, or maybe I'll make some hot dogs. That might sound good. I don't know. Something quick. All right, yeah. Go get sleep, Daily. This is your chance. Quick break. Oh, break away now.